everyone, welcome to another episode of MARKETECH APAC's Expert Up Close. In this series, we will dive into our esteemed guests' experience, expertise, and insights. Today, we will discuss how AI is becoming a marketing game changer. AI is taking on significant roles, notably in omnichannel, where it revolutionizes how brands can harness the power of data to acquire insights and improve customer experience. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to Asnawi Jufrie, who serves as the Vice President and General Manager of Southeast Asia at SleekFlow. He oversees the company's day-to-day operations and leads the social commerce platform's growth in the region. Without further ado, let's call on Asnawi. Hello, Nawi. How are you? Welcome to Expert Up Close.
Hi, Joven. Thanks a lot for bringing me on the show. I'm looking forward to our conversation today.
It's our pleasure. I'm looking forward to hear more from you. So now getting right to the first question, Nawi, you have been in the industry for quite a while now. As a firm believer in using conversational marketing to drive sales, what emerging trends and technologies do you anticipate will influence the future of omnichannel?
Right. I think it's a really good question, Joven. So I think the main takeaway which I wanted to share is how do you do more with less, right? And I think for a lot of customers today, customers are looking towards two things basically, right? Number one is how do you increase revenue? So how you increase revenue is through either converting more customers or making them happy or making them stay happy. And the second part is how do you reduce cost, right? And typically how you reduce cost is to improve efficiency, because by improving efficiency, basically you're going to take out all the manual work that you typically do on a BAU or day-to-day basis, and you have more time to be spent on things that are actually driving the business forward. And on these things, the way we look at in SleekFlow, there are three key trends, and we coin it as the triple A. First A is all-in-one. So businesses today, whatever platforms we are using, whatever that we're trying to drive, the key important thing is the integration. So for example, in the realm of chat, the question is, what are we integrated with? With many, many different platforms, be it Facebook, direct message, Instagram DM, WhatsApp, live chat, SMS, Viber, Telegram, there's so many. The question is it integrated in an all-in-one platform? That's number one. Number two, with many businesses, you would realize that they will never just use one singular platform. They will use multiple tech stacks. This can be your CRM. It can be your web store. It can be even things like your ERP, inventory, or even your gateways, for example. So the next question is, are they all integrated together? Because ultimately, on an end-to-end channel or a flow perspective, you want them to speak with each other. So integration is key, and that's where customers are looking towards, which is an all-in-one coherent tech stack, which is very important. The second A is AI-powered conversations. So I always use the idea of Batman, right? How Alfred, which is the butler of Batman, is always there with Batman, but he's never the Batman himself. So Alfred can always be the one that is maybe signing off on some documents. Maybe he is the one that appears in interviews or write the scripts for the Batman itself, but Alfred is never the Batman. So now the question is, how do you use AI in your conversations? And that's where AI-powered conversation is very important, especially with the surge of AI in today's day and age, right? So having AI as part of the conversation to actually do enrichment, also to actually do some sort of like smart reply or some suggestion is very, very key. Because bringing back to my point, will AI or can AI actually help in these two fundamental things? Increase your revenue or reduce costs by improving efficiency. Now, the last part of our A is automated workflows. This is very essential because with automation itself, what you're doing is basically improving the seamlessness from the end-to-end delivery, right? Now, it's a very powerful tool, and it's a very powerful way in which you can actually have or run different sets of processes to deliver multiple preset outcomes in advance. So many businesses have started using automated flows, or in our case in SleekFlow, we call it Flow Builder, to run looping processes and also form the basic fundamental funnel or filter that allows you to manage customer inquiries, to make it more intricate, and also to allow sales to have recommendations that will make sense when it's talking to the customer on a one-to-one basis.
Okay, well, thank you so much for that. So, with many channels available, as you said, for customers to reach out to brands and brands that are probably responding, right, to hundreds or even thousands of customers daily, how is SleekFlow responding to these challenges?
With regards to SleekFlow, we serve a few buckets in terms of our ideal customer persona.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe let me first focus more on the key ones that we work with, which is on the marketing ICP as well as the sales ICP. So for the marketing ICP, we coin it the triple L. What is top of mind of our businesses or marketing leaders today? So the first L is lead generation.
Mm-hmm.
So top of mind for a lot of businesses today is how do you infuse lead generation when you're orchestrating a chat strategy? Because there's multiple entry points that your customers will come in. It's not always going to be on your website. It can be on your offline events. It can even be on your EDM campaigns that you're running. You're also doing SEM, you're doing SEO. The question now is how do you integrate or kind of put in chat as part of that component when you're generating leads?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And with AI itself, it will be able to, if you are able to integrate it together, make it work, you can then understand, okay, which entry points, Joven, would make more sense for us to double down on. And maybe which entry points or which sources we can maybe take a step back. This allows you to form a better strategy for lead generation. Now, the second part is after you generate a lot of leads, which is a good thing. The next good problem that you have is how do you qualify them? So
Mm-hmm.
typically today, what will happen is maybe you will have a sales representative to call the customer, to ask questions, to qualify them basically. And many times what will happen is maybe the leads are not super qualified. If you're talking about 5 to 10, maybe it's fine to have someone to call one by one. But what if you're talking about hundreds and thousands of conversations that come in? So is there a way that AI can be infused inside that process to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that the qualification process can be done at scale and in the voice of your employees? So that's another way that AI can be infused a lead qualification. Now, the last part that's top of mind for marketers is how do you continually have your leads be nurtured and engaged? Now, data shows that of all your visitors that land on your website, 0.5 to 2% is converted. So the next question is, what happens to this 98%? This
Mm-hmm.
is basically money on the table, right? So typical ways that you do things will be your EDM campaigns, you run your social ads, for example. This is quite typical. But if you look at the open rates of EDMs, which is usually about 12 to 17%, compared to open rates of chat, which is typically higher. It can be 75 all the way to 98% in the case of WhatsApp. The most important thing here is to make sure that you're giving the right copies to the right people with the right messaging. So if you can infuse AI in that as well, you're saving a lot of time, which reduces your costs, and you have the second part, which is that you are able to increase revenue because you're giving people things that are relevant. People want things that's most relevant for them because they feel it's personalized. It feels that the client or the company understands me, and in
Mm-hmm.
that way, I become happy and I stay as a loyal customer. So on the sales side, the three things that typically we help businesses, we call it SCD, speed to lead. So first part, a lot of times sales will say, okay, the leads are not good. But what if we can use AI to identify and score leads based on conversations that they've had that was pre-qualified by marketing? So imagine now I know that this person is coming to me as a label called hot lead, for example. I, as a salesperson, I will jump on it as fast as possible. So this is one way that you can improve speed to lead because salespeople will work on deals or be hungry to work on it fast if they know that the conversion for this kind of leads are very, very high. So speed to lead is one thing that allows sales and marketing to have a better alignment. And AI
Mm-hmm.
can help that in terms of lead scoring, for example. Next is collaboration. How do you collaborate across the funnels? Now, marketers today should focus not on just marketing, but overall. How does marketing work with sales? How does sales work with service? How does service sales work with fulfillment? How does fulfillment work with finance? How the finance have, the back and forth with management? All this is collaboration. So is there a way that AI can be infused there as well to help in a more seamless collaboration? And then the last part is the D, which is data ownership. With conversations today, a lot of it sits outside of your data, outside of your platform, right? It sits on
Mm-hmm.
a personal mobile phone, your personal conversation you have with customers, for example. But these are key data. And what drives AI is actually data. So next question is how do you own this data? And SleekFlow as the platform, because it is running through the latest technologies, data that you have with customers through these typical channels that are personal are now owned by you as a company. And when you own this data, you can finally do things with it, and you can use AI to help in terms of the processes.
Got it. Okay. So it's amazing how SleekFlow is responding to these challenges, and great to know that these solutions are available for brands as well, right? Now, let's talk more about creating seamless customer journeys. How do you empower businesses to engage customers effectively throughout the entire customer journey and eventually build loyalty?
Right. And that's a very good question. I mean, we touched on sales, we touched on marketing. The
Mm,
next segment definitely is your support or service, which allows you to build loyalty. Fundamentally, what is loyalty and what is the aim of loyalty is to promote repeated purchase. And I think the most important thing that we help brands do is provide what we call the voice of customer.
mm.
Customers want to be heard. So the question now is, how do we lower the friction and make it easy for customers to share their opinions, share their frank feedback? And this is very important. So things like CSAT scoring, things like surveys are very, very essential to have these data points. And it also sets as a very good check and balance for teams or companies to have the customers be that sort of check and balance for your operations. Because we should be building products and we should be improving products and services based on the voice of the customer, so that we continually evolve and we continually give the customers what they want, so that we promote the whole idea of repeated purchases, which allows brands to have better lead procurement, engagement, conversions, as well as retention. Essentially, doing the two aspects which I brought earlier, increasing
Mhm.
revenue, at the same time reducing the cost.
Right. Okay. Always listen to the voice of the customer. You mentioned earlier, customer wants to be heard. So listen, right? Now, before I let you go, just one last question. As an industry leader, what advice would you give to brands aiming to future-proof marketing strategies through conversational AI and staying agile for shifting customer behaviors?
I think with AI, yeah, I go back to the idea I proposed earlier about the
Mhm.
whole Batman and Alfred. I think there's a lot of I think misunderstanding or fear
Mm.
amongst professionals, amongst companies today that AI can replace humans. But I firmly believe that that's never possible. Same thing with Alfred and Batman. Alfred can help Batman, can do a lot of things that Batman will need Alfred to support him on, but Alfred will never be the Batman, right? So I think
Mm.
that's fundamentally very important to align. But how
Yep.
can we grow the team of Alfreds to help the Batman be 3, 5 times better? So there's a few things. Number one is, how do you leverage the data? Right? Like I mentioned earlier, data ownership is very key. Now, how do you leverage this data to drive insights? So I think this is something that's very important, because with the right data analytics, you're able to use AI itself to understand and get exclusive insights for your customer behavior, their preferences, market trends, for example. This allows you to make informed decisions for your strategy moving forward. Secondly, is brands today would need to start investing in AI talent as well as AI partnerships. So it's important to have a team dedicated to understand and leverage AI itself, so that we are placing the brand at the forefront of technology to reap the benefits of AI, which is the next boom in today's day and age. And also the last part is about, how do we actively educate ourselves and our teams to understand the true value of AI and harness this potential to make sure that we are always evolving with the needs of the market. So that's how I see AI, and this is how I think that brands today can future-proof their business.
So thank you, Nawi, for sharing your insights and expertise with us. It's been a pleasure, and all the best to you.
Thank you so much, Joven, for having me. Look forward to our next meeting.
That was Nawi, Vice President and General Manager of Southeast Asia at SleekFlow. See you again on our next episode and learn from the best in the industry here at MARKETECH APAC's Expert Up Close. Look forward to more marketing insights and content on the MARKETECH APAC's YouTube channel. Again, I'm Joven. Keep evolving.